Please welcome to the stage Faith and Freedom Coalition's Director of Marketing Events, Joy Kreisman.
Thank you. Our next speaker is acclaimed actor John Ratzenberger, who's worked for Pixar as well as his roles in Superman and The Empire Strikes Back makes him the sixth most successful actor of all time. With total box office figures of over $3 billion, John is best known for his role of mail carrier Cliff Clavin in the classic sitcom Cheers, and has also had a voice part in every single Pixar film made to date. He has also produced and hosted Made in America, a show for the Travel Channel, which established a television precedent for shows to celebrate the work ethic that built America. John has co-authored We've Got It Made in America, A Common Man's Salute to an Uncommon Country, and serves on the boards of Pepperdine and Sacred Heart Universities. Please join me in welcoming Mr. John Ratzenberger.
Good morning. Good morning. It's funny when people take pictures with their iPads like that, you think they're hiding. It's the side of a refrigerator box. You know, that's funny. I grew up in Bridgeport, Connecticut. It was a factory town, and maybe because of that, I've always had a high regard for the Judeo-Christian ethic, which basically is, as we know, and you don't have to be Jewish or Christian to follow it, but get up in the morning, put your hand to something useful, work hard, be responsible for yourself and your family. Rules are kind of simple. I mean, it's what built Western civilization, after all. And so just being born into that. My mother worked in a factory. My father drove a truck for Texaco. So at 9 years old, I said, okay, it's time for me to get a job. I decided, I got to get a job. Everybody else is working, right? So I wanted my own money, so what I did is after school, I went down to the local barber shops along the high street there, and I talked them into letting me sweep out their barber shops after school. 75 cents for every shop. So I was rolling in dough. I was making almost $3 a week. I was high on the hog in those days. And that lasted until my father came home from work one day, looked at the kitchen floor and said, "Where's all this hair coming from?" So that was the end of that journey. But I always worked. And I loved it. I just loved the sense of accomplishment. Shoveling snow. Luckily, grew up in the Northeast. So every winter we'd go out there. We'd be up at 5 in the morning. And here again, we're 11, 12 years old, and me and a couple of buddies would meet, and we'd make a good buck. So we prayed for snow. It wasn't that we get out of school. It's that we could work hard, and we can accomplish something. There was that feeling, and I took that on into later life. I got a job as a deckhand on an oyster boat, and then went to college and picked up some carpentry skills along the way. And I ended up after college touring New England as a journeyman carpenter. My degree was in English, but an English degree, you can't build a house with that. Just roll it up, maybe hit a nail. That's pretty much it. So, and I've always been thankful that I retained those skills, because even in Hollywood, if that all goes south tomorrow, I can still pound a nail. So I'll be fine, don't worry. So, as in my journey as a carpenter, I ended up in Woodstock, New York, building a studio for a fella. And about a month or two there, the word came out that there was some kind of a music thing going on, and they're hiring. So I went down to where it was taking place in Bethel, stood in line, and the guy said, "You look like you're pretty together." And I didn't really. I mean, my hair was a little too long, beard a little too long, and but compared to everybody else in line, I probably looked like Copernicus. I probably looked like a brain surgeon. Because other people, one guy was there with a loincloth on, with flies around his head. So I said, yeah, I'm pretty together, I guess. And guy says, "Can you drive a tractor?" I said, "Oh yeah." I never drove a tractor in my life. But again, you want the job. It's, you're going to put some money in your pocket. And so I got on the tractor and almost tipped it over backwards. I was this far away, but finally I got the hang of it. And I helped to build the stage at Woodstock, and I was hauling materials back and forth and watching it all happen and grow. I was there about a week or two before the thing started. And then once it started, I looked around at the 500,000 people, all the young people, college people, and I said, uh-oh. This isn't good. These are the people that are going to take over. So we're in big trouble here, folks. And what happened was they came of age and took over our education system and our legal system and our government and our media, and now that's where we're stuck. Well, that's the reality of it. That's exactly what happened. And it took about 40 years for them to accomplish it, and a lot of us didn't realize it was happening. But it happened. It's here. It's done. So even back then, I want to apologize, because I could have disconnected the amplifier or rigged the stage so it collapsed. I could have stopped it right there, but no. I'm sorry. I apologize. So what happened was, it started raining. I don't know if you gray hairs probably remember that story. And it started raining, and everything turned to mud, and people are slipping and sliding. Again, there's 500,000 people. And they just showed up, most of them driving their parents' cars and getting them stuck into the mud up to the axles. And everyone's panicking. There's no food, there's no porta potties, there's no really medical care for that many people who are now cutting their feet and getting hurt and being dehydrated because there's no water. So it came to a point, and people don't realize, but I was there, where it was very close to becoming the Donner Party. And then all of a sudden you hear this noise in the distance, it's blah, 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 blah. And I looked, it was the National Guard helicopters. The very people that Woodstock Festival that I attended and helped build the stage, and again, I apologize, the very people that everyone was protesting against were coming to save them. And that's exactly what saved Woodstock, was the National Guard. They landed, porta potties, medical care, food, water. The National Guard saved Woodstock. So when Hillary Clinton suggested, it was 5-6 years ago maybe now, that there should be a statue commemorating this moment in American history, the Woodstock Festival, I said, yeah, it should be a statue, but it should be of a National Guardsman feeding a crying hippie. Because that's what happened. I was there. I mean, that's what happened. But, the media glosses it over like it's, wow, it's, man, just be cool. You don't have to work. And the one song, the Beatles song, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, LSD. And that's what always cracked me up, because the lyrics are, picture yourself in a boat down the river with tangerine trees and marmalade skies. Now, when I first heard it, as a carpenter, I thought, oh, who built the boat? Somebody with a work ethic had to get up early in the morning with these great skills and build a boat so you can be hip. And everybody went with the hip. And so as a result, we're actually in a situation now where the average age of a skilled worker is about 58 years old. And so that philosophy, the philosophy that came out of Woodstock, eliminated shop courses out of our schools. So we have children graduating from school now that can't read a ruler. Yeah, now we have bridges to be built, sewer systems, water systems, airplanes, buses. It's the bridges, they're collapsing. So I know I don't want to get off on that tangent. I'll have you here for an hour and a half looking at your watches, because that's a passion of mine. But the basic message out of all that I always carry with me is that it's the Judeo-Christian work ethic. You know, it's a high standard. That's what brought us to the dance. And we have to dance with the one who brought us. We have to keep that high standard. Whether you're evangelical, Catholic, Greek Orthodox, we're all in the same boat. We have to row in the same direction because we all believe in a higher power. When we were kids, we didn't need security cameras on the telephone poles to watch us because we knew God was watching us. We don't need cameras. We had God. But 1962, well, Supreme Court ended that. So you have a generation growing up thinking that they're the center of the universe because they don't have to recognize anything higher than them because the parents tell them how wonderful they are. Oh, you tied your shoes. Let's have a party. What? We've all seen that. And it's nuts. It's just nuts. But that's where we're going. The big signer says time is up. I've always been a rebel. But just one other quick story, then one of my favorite people in the world is going to come out, a man that I admire and look up to very much. And the one quick story is I was doing my traveling with Made in America. One of the CEOs of a very large company, we were talking about this subject, and he said that he had hired someone out of college and after 3 days had to fire the kid. I said, why'd you fire him? He said, he wouldn't work with anyone else. He had his own idea. He wanted a large office with windows. He wanted a $100,000 a year salary, so I had to fire him. And then he said, on the fourth day, the kid came back with his mother. And the mother said to the CEO of this very large company, you have to apologize to my son because you hurt his self-esteem. Well, that's where we are. And what I want to leave you with is it's great to put, money and finances into political candidates, but Washington marches to the tune played by Hollywood. And if you really want to change the culture, give me your money. I'll go into Hollywood. If you don't believe that, watch Saturday morning cartoons because their messaging starts there. And make no mistake about it, it's not done by accident, it's done by design. God bless us all, and now you're going to hear a real man. Thank you.